Hello. Hello. You can hear me well? Good. Hi, Monshin. Hi, Monshin. Okay. So, um, so thank you for being here in this Wednesday Dharma Talks here at Upaya Zen Center. Hello, everybody at Zoom and YouTube. Welcome. I'm wondering how many people are here for the first time in Upaya. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, okay. Good. Welcome. So we are in the middle of practice period. If you don't know, we are studying the golden age of Zen. Really is as the name, the golden age. So it was a really good time when the Zen, or Chan, it was in China. And this big movement started way, way back in the 500, 600, 700. So for this talk, we decided to talk about two main Zen teachers in Chan Buddhism, very pillars of Zen, of Chan. We call the title for this talk the Grandchildren of Huineng. So that you can have some kind of idea. It was Bodhidharma, and 6 generations later it was Huineng, and then 1 generation of teachers, and then these 2 main teachers, Matsu and Shitou. So I'm going to talk about Matsu, the Zen master Ma. So let's see. So the Zen master Matsu, so he was alive in 700s, was born in 709 and died in 788. And his teacher, like I said, it was one of the successors of Huineng, Nanjuet Huayan. So he was the teacher of Matsu. So if you trace the lineage of Rinzai school, the Rinzai in Japanese means Linchi lineage, is still alive, that school of Zen in Japan and also here in America and the West. If you trace that lineage, so you're going to go through Linchi, and then after Linchi, you're going to get into Matsu. So Matsu doesn't belong to the Soto Zen lineage. So Shitou belongs to that lineage. So, in reading about his life, about the style of teaching, you can see really what is the foundation of Chan, the thought or the technique, so to speak, to teach Zen or Chan. And then you have been, I'm sure that if you are familiar with Chan or with Zen, you will hear already the teachings, famous phrases that they come from Matsu. He was like really the pioneer of Chan movement that became Zen. And maybe you heard mind is Buddha. So another quote or teachings, this place is itself true doesness, pointing directly in the mind. There was another coming from Bodhidharma, but he really emphasized those teachings to really wake up. So one of these, his styles, is what we're having now. Really, the pillar of Zen is to wake up right now, right here, just this. To embodiment of the practice. That is this main characteristic of Zen, the no analytical, no understanding, but the intellect is by really embodiment, by actions, the way how you conduct yourself in your life. So that was what Matsu, that was the teachings, the root, that what we are now trying to practice or to embody. And then in another teachings, it was about ordinary mind. Ordinary mind is the way. So there is a legend, so the history say in India, in the time of Prashnatara, it was, I think they say this, it was a female teacher, Prashnatara. So she was the teacher of Bodhidharma, lineage of Prashnatara made some kind of prophecy saying that he predicted that under your feet will come forth a spirited young horse who will trample the whole world. So this, with the words like the young horse, it was related to Master Ma. They connect because in Chinese, Ma means horse. So she was saying that in the future it was going to be a really special being in this earth that was going to teach Buddhism, and now what we call Chan. And then reading his biography, it was looks to me, he was very skillful teacher. You know, that he have over 100 disciples. They, all of them became Zen teachers. So I think he has tremendous skills to wake up people. And it was also the beginning of shouts and hitting people as well. So that later Lynchy made like the brand of that. The trademark of shouting and hitting students. So, just to give you one story, very short, and you can have the sense of how Master Mahdi was. So among us, what is the essential meaning of Buddhism? What is the essential meaning of Buddhism? So Master Ma said, what is the meaning of this moment? Why you are here, my friend? Why you are here? What brought you here to this moment? The sound of the water. So really directly pointed to the moment, to the mind. And then I'm going to share a story where the encounter with the Master Ma, with his teacher, and how Master Ma have an insight with the practice. And then going to try to make a commentary on that, and then give it some time to Monshi to share the Dharma as well. So this is very famous story you might heard before. So it's Nanju polishes a tile. So this is a koan. So Matsu was sitting, he was meditating, he was practicing zazen. And then Nanju went to him and asked, Great monastic, what do you intend by doing zazen? What do you intend by doing zazen? Matsu said, I am intending to be a Buddha. Nanjue picked up a brick and started polishing. Matsu said, what are you doing? Nanjue said, I am trying to make a mirror. Matsu said, how can you make a mirror by polishing a brick? Nanjue said, how can you become a Buddha by doing zazen? Matsu said, what do you mean by that? Nanjue said, think about driving a cart. When it stops moving, do you whip the cart or the horse? Matsu said nothing. Nanjue said, do you want to practice sitting Zen or sitting Buddha? If you understand sitting Zen, you will know that Zen is not about sitting or lying down. If you want to learn sitting Buddha, know that sitting Buddha is without any fixed form. Do not use discriminating in the no abiding Dharma. If you practice sitting as Buddha, you must kill Buddha. If you are attached to the sitting form, you are not yet mastering the essential principle. Matsu heard this admonition and felt as if he had tasted sweet nectar. Okay, my friends, that's it. 6 o'clock, now is your time. Okay. This is wonderful story. And you can keep this story for the rest of your practice, for the rest of your life, coming back over and over again to this story. So here first, just the questions. You can work with the questions. First one, what do you intend by doing zazen? What do you practice? What brought you here? Why you try to attain? Really, go deep in the heart. What is your intention? It's more than intention. Why you think that you need to do this practice? It's a question. Other question that you can explore is how can you become a Buddha by doing zazen? How you can become a Buddha? What is zazen? Doing zazen. Or what is a Buddha? Or what is zazen? Or just as the big question, what are you? What is your life? Why you are here? And then others, do you want to practice sitting Zen or sitting Buddha? This is a big question. And it can manifest in your practice about you are practicing just to find peace. You are practicing to resolve all your problems in your life and not to find suffering anymore. This is your intention. Your intention to do zazen is to work with your stress. Your intention doing zazen is to practice with your emotions, to control your emotions. So here, that's an important question. Do you want to practice sitting Zen or sitting Buddha? What is Zen? What is Buddha? Why he make two questions? It's not the same or it is the same? So he say, if you understand sitting Zen, you will know that Zen is not about sitting or lying down. We say all the time we say here, your practice is not only on the cushion. Your practice is not when you come and do zazen here or doing in home. Zazen is 24/7. The real practice started when you get out from that cushion. How you treat other people, that's his real practice. How to practice patience, tolerance, compassion, caring, and listen to try just to distract ourselves and to turn away from the suffering or suffering and also the suffering what is happening in the world. So Nanjue says that Zen is more than sitting and lie down. It's beyond that. So he says, if you want to learn sitting Buddha, no, the sitting Buddha is without any fixed form. So Zen or Chan is the finger pointed to the moon. Zen or Chan is beyond religion. We are using this vehicle. This is like a beautiful taisando. Taisando? Yeah, taisando. This beautiful space to manifest something, to express something. Thinking that we need to have this beautiful space to do zazen or to do the practice. I need to get the right cushion. I need to get the right Buddha. I need to get the right incense. I need to get the right teacher. I need to get the right Sangha. Or I need to have the right time. Right now is not the time to go into a retreat. I need to practice more. So that is not any fixing form. Those bells, sometimes when we are in training for the residents, sometimes we get attached to the sound of the bell, that we become performance instant to see in my mind what is my relationship with the bell. To see in my mind what is my relationship when I vow. And listen to do the gasho very nicely because I'm gonna get corrected. It's not about that. It's about to paying attention in your state of mind when you are doing those things. That's a chant. That is what Matsu and the whole teaching is pointed out. To watch your mind. If you practice sitting as a Buddha, you must kill Buddha. So you have to get rid of that idea about awakening, about awakening one, about the practice or the experience is going to be in the next moment. And he goes, if you attach to the sitting form, you are not yet mastering the essential principle. So that is, and Matsu wake up, understood that you don't have to intending to be a Buddha. And it's a very, very hard practice. It's a very, very hard practice to sit, like a Dogen said, just sitting. It's very hard. Really. You enter to the sendo and you vow, and you might be in your mind saying, I hope that I'm not going to sleep in this session. Or I hope that I don't have to have a pain in my knee. Or I hope that I don't have this memory again. Or I hope that not to have this anxiety. Or I hope not to have this emotion. And so many things. Just pay attention when you step in the sendo and bowing. And when the way how they taught me is when you bow into the sendo, you really let it go everything. And coming with your sincere heart to do your practice. The sincere heart is your wholeness of your being. so that you don't have to intend to be Buddha. That's what Ananjoy was pointed out. That you really embrace your wholeness, your being, sitting, zazen, who you really are. With all this stuff that we have, the good things and the bad things. But to acknowledge that's why it's so hard, because we want only the good stuff. Okay, Monshin, I have just 1 minute left. And then, so to end, I think this is to understand right now, right here, who you are. Is this what you want to attain? That's it. And we flow with the practice, with the flow with life. We're moving along the life with this impermanence. When Huineng say, let the mind abide nowhere, abiding nowhere. Is they not get stuck in anything, just moving to one thing to another. When you do zazen sitting, you are doing zazen sitting. When you is the bell, you stand out when you walk. What is this attachment to this? I am in the zone. It really is, there is a zone there. and you stand out and walk. No, I don't want to walk because it's unpleasant. Oh, I am walking because it's a break. All this addition. And to end, another teachings, beautiful teachings, how Matsu, when he was close to die, he was old and struggling with his health. So the director of the temple approached to him and said, Master, how is your health? And the Matsu said, sun face Buddha, moon face Buddha. So quickly, it's about being a human being, this practice, and the full spectrum, and embracing life without discriminating mind. And he says, sun face Buddha, moon face Buddha. Thank you. And now, Shitou.
Hi. Good to see everyone. Good to see in my imagination everyone online who so many of these faces of people that are just solidly with us during the practice period online, just showing up. Well, thank you wherever you are. I have to say something. This is an experiment in a talk, and it has to do with sun-faced Buddha, moon-faced Buddha, because I got a shingles shot yesterday, as well as I'm kind of half here, and I thought, well, maybe that's good. Maybe that will add to my talk. We'll see. But definitely moon-faced Buddha over here. And yet, here we are. And just to start, it's really fascinating. So if you've followed some of these teachers that we've been bringing in over these weeks, there is a solid line of practice and teaching. And you'll hear, so we say Matsu and the Rinzai line and Shitou and the Soto line, but you will hear in these few things I'm going to share the same teaching. the same teaching. Amazing. So I want to tell you one little story from his childhood. I don't have a lot, but this one is so perfect. Apparently, he grew up in a village. He wasn't super poor and wasn't, from the aristocracy, but he was kind of a sweet child, and everybody liked him. And he was kind of, basically compliant. What's the word? Showed self-restraint. That's the word that was. However, in his village, they had a lot of superstition and they believed in witchcraft. And they would, on a regular basis, have these ceremonies and have sacrifices of cows to appease the ghost, to appease the spirit. So year after year, Shitou, as a child, would go and upset the ritual and drive off the cows. And he did this year after year, and they kind of couldn't stop him. So here's this child that's sweet and compliant, but that sees something that he's not going to allow. I really like that one little detail in his childhood. But as Shinzan said, for a short time, actually, he studied with Huineng and then with his successor, Xinyuan. And he eventually, he was kind of a monastery monk, did a lot of teaching, had students, but he built himself a grass hut. And it's one of his most beautiful poems, which I'll say a few lines from later. But he lived in this hut on a stone ledge near the monastery, and then he would go and do his teachings. And that's where he got his name, which means, here it says stone monk, but I always heard stonehead, which I think is kind of cool. But anyway, his name was from his hut. And I'll read a paragraph that he wrote that is like, okay, these are my essential teachings. This is what he said. And as I mentioned, you'll recognize it. The key point of my teaching comes from Buddha. We concentrate on actualizing Buddha's insight, not on making progress in meditation. The mind is the Buddha. Buddha and common people, enlightenment and delusion, have different names, but they have the same origin. And then he says, you've got to study your mind first. Human nature in itself is neither good nor bad. There isn't some special way to apply this theory to reality. So again, pointing to actualizing insight, not making some kind of progress or looking elsewhere. And that this very mind is Buddha, and that Buddha and common people, enlightenment and delusion have different names, but they come from the same source. So 2 dialogues I'll share. And I won't say much about them because they're very clear, which is my favorite approach, but they're very clear. So, and here's the first one. Dao Wu asks, who understands the teaching of, I think it's Kaoji, which is basically where Huineng taught. Who understands these teachings? And Shitou answered, he who understands the teachings of the Buddha. Have you got it? Dao Wu asked. Shitou said, no. Why not? Because I don't understand Buddhist teachings, Shitou says. Dao Wu, then how can I be free? Shitou, who's holding you captive? Dao Wu, How can I get to the Pure Land over there? Shitou, who's making you impure? Dao, what is nirvana? Shitou, who put you in birth and death? Okay, second story. A monk asked a monk named Huineng once asked Master Shitou, what is the awakened one? The master said, you don't have an awakened mind. Huineng, dejected, said, I'm just human. I know I run around and have all kinds of ideas. That would be us. I'm just human. I know I run around and have all kinds of ideas. The master said, active people with ideas still have awakened mind. Huineng asked, then why don't I? The master said, because you're not satisfied to be just human. I'm just human. I know I run around and have all kinds of ideas. The master said, active people with ideas still have awakened mind. Huineng asked, then why don't I? The master said, because you're not satisfied to be just human. So, just as Matsu, in his style, don't separate from this person here and now, always pointing us back in these teachings to just this person and just this moment. Just be satisfied to be human. So, Shitou was the author of two of our most really revered poems. And since we spent a whole practice period on each of them in the past, I think I'm not going to be able to go deeply or take them apart. But so the two poems are the Sandokai, or the identity of relative and absolute that we chant, and the Song of the Grass Roof Hermitage. And the Sandokai is actually chanted in temples, Buddhist temples and Zen temples throughout the world. It's really foundational with this teaching of relative and absolute, completely penetrating, completely penetrating. So I'm going to look at one line only. The subtle source is clear and bright. The branching streams flow in the dark. The subtle source is clear and bright. So what's interesting about this is that he turns the usual representation on its head. In the Sandokai, he kind of goes back and forth and does that to try to bring us to some kind of understanding. The subtle source is usually the absolute, the undifferentiated, the dark, when we're not distinguishing the myriad things. But here he says, the subtle source is clear and bright. All the myriad things shining, shining. And then the branching streams, or the myriad things of the physical world, flow on in the dark. So not separate from the source, rather an embodiment, an expression of the source. And I know many of you know this poem and we chant it and have studied it, but this is really the penetrating message of this story. And later on he says, hearing this, simply perceive the source. Make no criterion. Make no criterion, he's got it, or it's in the water, or simply perceive the source. Make no criterion. And if you want to spend a few months with this teaching, we have a whole practice period of it online with talks and everything. But the second poem is the Song of the Grassroot Hermitage. And this poem is like zazen instruction, life instruction. So simple. So remember Stonehead, right? It starts like this. I've built a grass hut where there's nothing of value. After eating, I relax and enjoy the sun. When it was completed, fresh weeds appeared. Now it's been lived in, covered by weeds. So listen to this with the mind of zazen instruction, these next lines. Just sitting with head covered, all things are at rest. Thus, this mountain monk doesn't understand at all. Living here, he no longer works to get free. Who would proudly arrange seats and try to entice guests? Turn the light around to shine within, then just return. And this poem ends like this. Let go of hundreds of years and relax completely. Open your hands and walk innocent. Thousands of words, myriad interpretations are only to free you from obstructions. If you want to know the undying person in the hut, don't separate. Don't separate, just like Mr. Ma said, from this skin bag here and now. Simplify your life, slow it down, stop looking elsewhere, and it takes some faith, to not separate. It can't be, we don't like the news that the Buddha is right here, actually. Don't separate from this here and now. So I'm going to end with two poems. These, bringing these poems in, I think, we're just reading a poem, but all the poetry of the Golden Age has this same flavor that you can taste. And first is a poem by Shui Dao, who is someone we heard from last week. She's interesting from the little biography. She wasn't a nun and she wasn't a courtesan, but she was like a hostess in the court. And somehow she walked that line and she got a lot of criticism, but many of her poems survived. This one is called Beside the River, and I'll read it twice, and then one more. The west wind suddenly brings wild geese in pairs. In this world, we must each tame our own heart. The entrails of these fish can't reveal our true fate. Who can deceive themselves beside this clear river? West wind suddenly brings wild geese in pairs. In this world, we must tame our own heart. The entrails of fish cannot reveal our true fate. Who can deceive themselves beside this clear river? And the second poem is by who came down to us as Plum Blossom Nun. We don't have her name and we don't have her dates. So this is her poem. The entire day I searched for spring, but spring I could not find. In my straw sandals, I tramped among the mountain peak clouds. Home again, smiling, I finger a sprig of fragrant plum blossom. Spring was right here on these branches in all its glory. The entire day I searched for spring, but spring I could not find. In my straw sandals, I tramped among the mountain peak clouds. Home again. Smiling, I finger a sprig of fragrant plum blossom. Spring was right here on these branches in all its glory. Thank you.